So I'll just go live and phone normally vibrates when I do that, but it didn't that time. Better make sure I am live, otherwise I'll be talking to myself. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, it's working. Okay, so it's a 10-hour print job, so I've got this piece of paper blocking the draft so I don't have any cracking on my print job. So it's been going for about 7-8 hours, maybe 7 hours so far. And this is how far we've gone. I thought I'd show you the progress. So yeah, coming out nice so far. I'm trying to keep this piece of paper drooped over it to stop the draft hitting it. It's kind of weird watching it move around actually, but ABS has a tendency to shrink and crack, so but that's the percentage that we're at so far. I want to share a few more and the time. We're at about, look at that clock up there, we're nearly 8 o'clock in the morning. I've started this job about midnight or something like that, so it's been going all night. I've been up all night and I kind of don't want to go to bed now. I want to wait, so I want to see it through to make sure nothing goes wrong. So there's one or two points I didn't really mention about that I thought I might as well clarify while I'm doing this update with the design. I don't think I mentioned it anyway, but you see, most people say, well, you can't generate power if the magnets are not moving relative to the coil. Well, that is true. If the magnet is stationary and the coil is stationary, in theory you wouldn't generate any power. But remember, the flux is moving because the flux is being carried by this steel ball that goes in here, right? And the flux is being moving, is agitated, so relative to the coil the flux will be moving, but it'll be moving in a peculiar way, because instead of having a complete cycle where the flux is moving all the way around, it will kind of fade in as it starts to pass this magnet. It'll be like somebody's turning the volume up on your hi-fi, and as it passes that magnet it will be as if somebody's turned the volume down. But in between those 2 points the flux is actually moving, because the steel ball is actually attenuating the field, so we should get some small voltage. I'm not expecting to get a lot. I don't expect to be able to dry a light bulb or anything. We'll be looking to get 4 or 5 volts, I would have thought, possibly even less than that. But it's the test principle that I'm interested in, to see about loading it, to see what effect it has on the wheel. As I say, this is just an experiment, because ultimately I spent more time thinking about this, because you see, at the moment the magnets are going to be mounted vertically in this hub in the center, but there's no reason why, because this ball's moving, there's no reason at all why the magnets can't be mounted directly at the side of the steel ball, so we would get much better coupling. So that's another possibility. Just to show what I mean. So if I get this, I'll just get a bunch of these magnets here a minute. Flipping magnets, these make you jump when they grab things. So the magnets in here are basically like pointing inwards like this, but there's no reason why the magnets can't be pointing at an angle towards the steel ball. Obviously I want the shielding there though, so yeah, so we're doing the test with the shielding mounted inside the wheel, but I could direct flux at the back of these magnets to amplify the amount of flux travelling through these magnets to the ball. So yeah, so imagine it's in there. Yeah, anyway, there's different configurations that can be done to increase the output if it gets to that point where I want to boost the output. And also we could have magnets on both sides of the wheel that push against these magnets to amplify the strength of the field. So there's that as well. I just thought I'd mention that because it's something I was thinking about the various possibilities. But if I did that, the screening would have to be around as well. It would have to be, yeah, between the magnet and, you know what I mean, it's complicated. But so at least we'll have something to test with. The magnets are going to go in there. They're not particularly that strong. They're neodymium N52s, but then if I can get one off the thingy in a minute. So they're not that big, but it'll be something to test with. So that print job should be finished in about 4 hours maybe. And hopefully it doesn't crack, but anyway, I'll be giving it the acetone treatment anyway to bind the fibres in the plastic so that it strengthens it up a bit. So I'll be putting it inside my container and giving it the vapor treatment, and I'll probably make sure especially the outside rim, that is the main part that needs to be soaked with acetone to bind, to give it a lot of strength there, because that outside wall is where all the pressure is going to be from the weight of the balls that are in these holes. And obviously we've got to make sure the shielding that I'm going to be sticking inside these slots, well, I don't have to do that straight away. I can just do the test with just the 3 balls and leave the shielding out temporarily to do a test, and then finagle something in there. And I was thinking more or less about I was obviously going to use this stuff, the nanocrystalline material, and I was thinking about the best way of processing that, and I decided it'd be better if I just chopped it off in that direction once I've peeled it all, and because that way I'll have pretty much the right length that way. So I just need to cut this at the right point so that it doesn't stick out of this plastic too far, if you know what I mean. So sort of like that end ways, yeah, in there, but it'll be curled around. This is a lot bigger than the actual wheel, as you can see on there. The wheel is a lot smaller than this. This is not to scale. So I thought I'd just talk about that, and hopefully next week I'm gonna get another motherboard for my backup computer, which is the middle one. The one on the end it's an old Celeron. It's not even worth fixing actually. It used to be my server, that one did. It used to run my Flight Gear server. I kind of got attached to it. It's a bit sentimental, but it's got a graphics card problem as well. That has definitely got a graphics card problem, because every time or a bad connection in the motherboard somewhere, because when I take the card out and put it back in, it works, but it's not even much point turning it on anymore, because it can't. Yeah, it's too slow. It gets hot. It wastes electricity. But this is the one with another Asus board, which has failed. Now there's a guy on the internet who's got the exact same motherboard he's selling, and I'm going to see about if I can get that on Monday to get that machine sorted out. You might think, well, what's the point? What do you need it for? Well, I do back up a lot of stuff on there, and I keep a lot of files on there to do with my flight gear simulator backups and that. When I used to make the Oleg event, the Adventures of Oleg. So there's stuff on there which I don't want to lose, and I'm hoping that it is just the motherboard. Initially I thought it was a graphics card, but it turns out it's just completely dead. I put a new graphics card in it, didn't do a thing, it's just the same thing. I've unplugged all the peripherals, I've unplugged all the hard drives. I just pulled the main plugs off the motherboard and the CD drives. No change. So yeah, it's not even beeping. So yeah, it's definitely the motherboard. It could be the CPU. That's a possibility. That's one thing I didn't test yet, but I don't think it is. I think it's the motherboard that's gone. I think it's something to, because a friend of mine was saying that some of these motherboards have got a problem where the power to the CPU can kind of blow out or something, and yeah, well, we'll see, find out. Anyway, back to this. So I really want to get this sorted out as soon as I can, but you see, I've got to find some bearings for this as well. I'm not quite sure where I think I've got some bearings that I can actually. I've just realised something. I do have some bearings somewhere I was using for this. You know where they are, don't you? I know where they are. They're actually in the bedroom. So I've got two bearings I can use. They were for that other. They're right up there. I'll have to stand on my bed a minute. Hang on a minute. Oh God, I can't get up here. So I've got some bearings in that thing there. So yeah, some of my previous builds, what's left of them. So if I can grab this thing without hitting me on the head, because it's pretty high up. Got ya. Right, so yeah, I've got some bearings. Oh, they're not in good shape, but they'll do. They're falling over here. Right, so yeah, one of the bearing covers has come off on that bearing, but I think I've got another bearing somewhere that's in better shape than that. I think. I'm just trying to, let me just put this down in here a minute. That works though. Those bearings will work. I have a suspicion that let's make room. Not a lot of clutter in here. I suspect, oh, here we go. Let's see. We've got a bearing in here. Yeah, there's a bearing in here which might be some good. Otherwise I have to order some if not. That's got the caps on. I think it's had glue on it though. I'll have to check it to make sure it works. Let's see if the middle part turns. Can't do this with one hand. Anyway, we're not stuck. We've got some bearings. I'll just leave it in there for now. At least I know I've got two. That's all I need. So I aren't stuck for bearings. They're going to be. I'm going to be driving the thing with a tiny motor. I've got, hang on a minute, I've got back in here, I've got these little motors. I've got a brand new one in here. I haven't even used it yet. This one is a tiny little, see if I can get the light a bit. Focus. It's a CD motor. So I'm going to use that probably because there's a pulley. It's a flat belt pulley. I might use a flat belt. They don't slip as badly as square pulleys. And I've got quite a few flat belts around. I actually got this new off eBay recently because I've got quite a few of these motors, but they don't hold up well if you overdrive them because they're designed for 6 volts and I tend to run them at about 12. That's why they don't hold up so well. I've got, as I say, this one works as well, but it's not so good. I've got one on the I've got some other motors up here as well if I'm stuck. There's another one there which is a bit bigger. 3D printed these pulleys, so that one's no good actually. I remember that one's had it, but this one works as well. So we don't need to go anywhere anything too fancy. I'll probably need to make a motor mount to attach to the frame, but at least these bearings are good. It's not dragging or anything, so they'll do the job. Just pop them out that shaft when I'm ready. So yeah, that's all for now. Just hope that thing I'm printing doesn't crack. If it does, it's going to mess up the print, because what will happen is if the layers come apart and split, what happens is it stops the print head from printing on the side that's tight, because one side lifts up and it gets tight again, the head, so it'll be out of balance. That's the only worry I've got, so I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that it doesn't split, and this piece of paper should help prevent that from happening. I did actually give it a spray with acetone while it was printing, just to prevent it from drying out too much, because it sometimes helps if you spray a bit of acetone on it while it's printing. Just adds a little bit of flexibility to it. Yeah, see you later.